rules are meant for protecting the research participants, and the reputation of the psychologist should not be gone. That means their reputation should not fall. So, keeping these things in view, the rules, then we have to conduct the research related to psychological issues. The first one is ethical factors, which talks about no pressure on the participants. There should not be any pressure on the participants. Ensure that they are safe, happy, and they should also cooperate. And there should not be exercise. The researchers should not exercise any kind of pressure on the participants. Then safety of the participants is essential, especially if you conduct the research, especially experimental research. So when the experimental research is conducted, they are supposed to take certain measures. So from those measures, there should be any pressure, there should not be any pressure to the participants. Then every researcher must receive precise, appropriate credit. So every researcher, whoever is included in the research project, and they should receive precise and appropriate credit for that research work. Credit. Yeah, that credit should go to each and everybody, whoever is involved in the research work. Then communicate the results known to participants. And the results of that particular research need to be communicated to the participants at the end of the research, not before, which we can call it as debriefing. We can call it as debriefing. So therefore, the results, before that you cannot say anything about the results. You may talk about all the results of your study only after the completion of the project. You may share the results of your study with the participants after conclusion and reporting is completed. And you may share those results to the participants. And one should be conscious of possible bad uses of research. So bad uses of research, that should not be for bad practices. The research should not be used for bad practices. They should also conscious about the bad effects of the research, effects of which are not acceptable. So effects which are not acceptable, that should also be, the research should also be conscious about those bad uses of the research. You are not supposed to use for bad purposes, and is meant for the improvement of any institution or strengthening any institution or doing good to the institution. So keeping that in view only, the research has to be used, and the research should not be in the other way. So these are some of the ethical principles related to informed consent. So other principles are informed consent, and you have to inform the participants that you are going to take up a study, and your cooperation is necessary for that, and this will be very useful to the society and also to the participants. That way you have to inform, the researcher has to inform the participants. Deception. There should not be misleading the candidates or the participants. You are not supposed to mislead the participants. So if once you mislead the participants, means it would be very, very difficult if they know that you are deceiving or misleading. If they do not have the trust, the belief on you, I think you cannot continue your research.
Sure.
Therefore, you are not supposed to mislead the participants. Whatever that you are going to conduct with regard to the purpose, how that is beneficial to the participants and to the society, need to be informed to the participants. Then protection of the participants. Their health is very, very important. So there should not be any harm to the participants if it is experimental researchers, and if there are any harms from the researcher or harms from the other factors, that should be taken care of by the researcher, ensure that they are safe and secure. Then confidentiality of the research reports or the results, you have to maintain the confidentiality also. Confidentiality also. Without completing that one, without taking permission from the fund authorities who are funding this project. So you are not supposed to leak out or disclose the results or even the methodology that you are using for this research. You are not supposed to disclose, and everything is highly confidential. That has to be maintained by the researcher. And those people, if they leak out or disclose, then there will be action against them also, whoever is participating in the research program along with the researcher. So therefore, everybody, whoever is included in this research team, they are not supposed to disclose the whole project, how is it conducted, and how is it arrived at the conclusions. After taking permission, then only I think with the permission of the institutions or the funding agencies, then only the results or the other issues can be discussed with the other agencies. Then withdrawal. Suppose if the participant is not interested to continue in the experiment, so that kind of withdrawal should also be there. If you want to drop out from the experiment, especially the participants, whoever is participating in the research as subjects, if they want to withdraw from this experiment or the research, they should also be given the way out, to be out from the frame of this research also. If they're not interested to continue, then they can also drop out from the experiment or the research. So such kind of facilities should also be available with regard to the research. Then debriefing. Debriefing means after completion of the research, and you may tell them in general what has happened with regard to the research program. The results may be shared with the participants in general, not completely. A brief summary of the results, those things may be informed to the participants after the closure of the research project. So these are the ethical principles. From these angles, we have to talk about the rules and regulations of the research with in relation to the psychological issues. So number one is you have to take the permission, or information should be given to the participants, and again they should not be misled, and again the participants should be protected, and the confidentiality should be maintained, and withdrawal of the participants if they are not interested to come the experiment, that should also be considered. And finally, after completion of the project, the summary of the results may be briefed to the participants. Then from this, let us try to still go into the details of all these issues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 areas or the angles. The rules are framed, and let us try to understand from each angle what are the various issues. First one is informed consent. The purpose of from that informed consent, the purpose of the research need to be explained. So the purpose of the research need to be explained to the participants. Procedures involved in the research. So I think you have to stay from this time to this time, and you will be given these facilities, and you have to cooperate, and you have to follow the instructions. Such kind of procedures need to be followed by the participants, and for that the procedures should also be explained to the participants. And all foreseeable risks and discomforts to the participants, if any, if at all any discomfort or otherwise any risk with regard to the research, that should also be ensured. All foreseeable risks and discomfort to the participants. These include not only the physical injury but also possible psychological. And most of the cases, all the care will be taken. Even then, if at all any danger that is occurring, immediately you have to withdraw your research to the extent possible to that particular time. So I think any kind of injury, physical injury, should not occur. So that should also be ensured. Benefits of the research to society and possibly to the individual human subjects. So how the society is benefiting out of this research, and also the subjects which are involved, they should also be informed how the results of this project would be useful to the society and to the subjects involved, that need to be explained to them. The length of the time the subjects expect to participate, the duration of the time, the participation of the participant, that should also be informed. From this day to 4 or 5 days, or from this time to maybe 4 or 5 hours. So the duration of the time from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. like that. So the time that is taking place for conducting this research need to be explained to the participant, need to be explained to the participants. Then person to contact for answers to questions or in the event of injury or emergency. Person to contact for answers. Yes, if there is an emergency, there should be a person who is to be contacted. If there any kind of injury that occurs, immediately there should be a person. So to take care of this particular issue. So such kind of facilities should also be available to the participant. That kind of information should also be given to the participants, because there should be a person. If there is any injury that occurs, to overcome this, there should be a particular person who would be answering all the queries of the participants. So then subjects' rights to confidentiality and the right to withdraw from the study at any time without any consequences. Without any consequences to the participants, they can also withdraw their participation in the experiment. Subjects' right to confidentiality. Subjects need not be leaked. Whoever is participating in the experiment, their names need not be disclosed. It's very important. So if it is very confidential issue on which you are conducting the research, if their subjects are participating, you are not supposed to leak out or disclose the names of those participants who are participating in the experiment. That should be maintained. Confidentiality should be maintained. Then the deception point. From this point of view, what are the rules or the ethics that should be followed by the researcher? So deception means misleading. Sometimes for researcher, it's not possible to explain all process with the participants. So at times I think he may not explain all the process. Even they explain, they may not understand also. So therefore, sometimes it may happen that all the procedures may not be possible to explain to the participants. I think that may also lead for misleading the candidates. At times that will also mislead. If the information fully is not given to the participants, is not explained to the possible extent, I think it may also lead misleading the participants. And then debriefing before experiment may affect the result. Debriefing before experiment may affect result. So debriefing means explaining it further, explaining it very briefly about the experiment. Then that should also be followed. Researchers should adopt this process if there is no other option. So if there is no option, then only the debriefing should be done. So especially it's better not to brief them. Of course, it may be briefed, but complete the experiment, how the process are taking place and all those things, I think that may not be possible for the researcher to disclose with the participants. But anyway, researchers should adopt this process if there is no other option. If there is no other option of convincing or persuading the participants, they may debrief about the experiment. Then protection of the participants is also another important role which should be taken care of by the researchers. Researchers should take responsibility. There is some mistake in the sentence. Researchers should take responsibility of participants' physical and mental harms. So there should not be physically or mentally harm. Such kind of harming kind of things should not occur during the time of this experimentation. And he is responsible for that. If at all any hurting or harm, physical or mentally, the participants, it is the responsibility of the researcher. He is responsible for all those things. Ensure that you will not disturb them physically or mentally. Researcher must understand. Again, there is some wrong sentence here. Researcher must understand, familiar with the animal participants or experts, take care of them. So experts should also be there to take care of the participants. If it is related to any injury and other things, they will also take care of those participants who are prone to this kind of injuries or any mental health. If they are disturbed mentally, I think concerned persons would also be there or placed or positioned. Concerned persons will be positioned to take care of such a kind of participants who are going to injure or who is injured or who is disturbed physically or mentally. Researchers should have advanced knowledge in biomedical and participants' behavior for their welfare. So they should have very good idea about the knowledge related to biomedical issues, because this is psychology. So immediate measures to be taken if there is anything that is going wrong in order to protect them. I think he has such kind of knowledge. If he is possessing such kind of knowledge in biomedicals, and it would be easy for the researcher to overcome that particular problem if it occurs. If it may be injury, or it may be some kind of hurting, or it may be some kind of mental harms and other things. To overcome all these things, he should have knowledge. The researcher should have knowledge with regard to biomedical issues. Then the confidentiality to be maintained, the secrecy. So the researcher must be asked to, again there is also wrong sentence, researcher must be asked to participate, must ask the participants, researcher must ask the participants before publish or share them with others. So therefore, if they want to publish the results of the research, he should get the permission. He should also keep all the data and don't share with anyone. He is not supposed to share the data to anyone, and that should be locked also. That data should be locked. So therefore, nobody.
లోపలికి ఏం చేస్తుంది నేను ఫోన్ తీసుకోపోయి
హలో, ఎవరండి మాట్లాడేది?
నాదెందుకు హాట్స్పాట్ ఆన్ చేసాను? ఇది అయిపోయినా అప్పుడే.
Hello, sir. You are in the class. Researchers should take responsibility of participants' privacy. Yes, privacy should be respected. Participants' privacy should be respected. Don't go into the details of the participants. To maintain the dignity and decorum of the participants, they should be respected. In all respects, they should be respected. So their privacy should not be disturbed. So these are the issues related to confidentiality. Then withdrawal. That means dropping out. If any participant is interested to drop out in the middle, and there is always a way to leave the experiment also. Such kind of participants who are not interested or continuing the experiment, again they should be permitted to withdraw from the experiment. Even such kind of fellows who are there in the experiment, you are going to get the wrong results. If they are not interested fully, it's always better to leave such kind of participants in the middle itself. If you find he is not cooperating, he is not listening to the instructions, then such kind of participants should be given way to leave the experiment. So therefore, they can also withdraw this in the middle if they are not interested. Research cannot do forcefully investigation with the participants without any force or pressure on the participants. The researcher, it's better not to force by the participants. He is not supposed to force the participant to participate in the investigation. Then debriefing, already we have also discussed certain things. Participants have right to ask questions about the result and research. Researchers should provide knowledge of the research and should give answer to the participant questions. Researcher must inform participants about their rights. They can withdraw from the research. So if participants about their rights, they have the rights to withdraw. This means, so such situations, researcher must inform participants about their rights. They can withdraw. So there is a possibility that you can also withdraw. Such kind of information should also be given to the participants. And finally, the summary of this ethics. The whole summary of the ethics is this. Ethics means the rules. Number one is the researchers should have advanced knowledge and experience about the research in the field in which he is conducting the investigation. Researchers should have advanced knowledge and experience about the research field in which he is conducting the experiment. Minimizing discomfort, infection, illness, and pain of participants. So ensure that there should not be any discomfort, infection, illness, ill health, pain to the participants out of your experiment. And rules will not accept all these things within the rules. And it is the responsibility of the researcher to ensure that the participants are always safe and secure. Goals should be justified by scientific and applied values. So there should be certain values need to be followed for conducting the experiment scientifically. The accurate finding of the results. The results should be very, very accurate. And for that, whatever the problem that is cropping up during the time of the experimentation need to be overcome by the researcher for getting the valid results. If the
Excuse me, sir.
what's that?
Excuse me, one simple doubt, sir.
Yeah.
You said totally this discomfort, illness, etc., should be minimized or it should be totally avoided. I
Yeah,
can't
when
avoid it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's difficult completely to the maximum extent. It
Ah,
may be minimized.
yes. Maximum extent minimized means zero.
I cannot say, yeah, it's better if such kind of facility is there to come down to the zero level of pain. Huh?
Right,
If you bring that kind of thing to the zero level, that would be well and good.
right.
But since we are all human beings, we have certain emotions, isn't it?
Yes,
It
sir.
would be very difficult also to control all
Mm.
those emotions when you are conducting research on the human beings.
Beings.
Therefore, therefore, error
Minimized.
would be there, but that
Mhm.
should not be too much.
Mhm.
So it should be minimal.
Yeah.
That is possible when the rules are followed by the researcher. And when the rules are explained to the participants, they will also cooperate. And to the maximum extent, that kind of, it may be infection or discomfort or pain should be reduced to the maximum extent. Okay.
Thank you.
That's all about. These are certain rules which are to be followed by the researcher if he wants to conduct research on the human beings, especially in the experimental researcher. These are the rules which are applicable for the researcher to follow for his investigation. Otherwise, he will not get the valid results. If he wants to get the valid results, there should be support from the subjects or the participants. And for that purpose, I think safety and security of the participants is to be ensured by the researcher. And if you have knowledge about the biomedics and other things, I think immediately you can overcome such kind of pain things so that the pleasure can bring out. The pleasure can bring out from the participants if the pain is overcome through the knowledge that is acquired by the researcher. If you have that kind of knowledge in biomedicals, it would be well and good, especially psychology means they have some knowledge about the biomedicals and think they can take such kind of measures to overcome all those illness or discomfort or pain or other things which are which may be occurring with regard to the participants. Then finally, with regard to this ethics, then what are the standard protocols? Protocols for ethical considerations. I think you have the protocols. This particular word is quite often we try to understand from the politics. If a leader is coming, if the CM is coming, this is the protocol to be followed. Am I right? If he is visiting a particular place, then who should meet, who should not meet, who should be coming to the line. I think such kind of protocols need to be maintained when we talk about the leaders or the the people who are at the helm of affairs. Similarly, such a kind of protocols, standard protocols, SPTs, so to be maintained by the researcher, which we can call them as standard protocols for ethical considerations. For consideration of these ethics or the roles, there are standard procedures. Protocols means procedures. The first one is project title has to be fixed. Project title, the title of the problem that has to be fixed on which he is going to conduct the research. Then expected duration, how much duration it is going to take. Is it 2 years or 3 years or 1 year? You have to mention the duration of your project. Then identify the field researchers and organizational base. So therefore, those people who are collecting the data in the field, who are helping the researcher in the field. So you have to identify such kind of field researchers and organizational base and the organization which is cooperating or which is working. with the individuals with which they are working. So that kind of identification should be done by the researcher. So what are the various organizations that are involved in this particular project to complete this project? Such kind of organizations and the field researchers need to be identified for conducting this research. And again, I'm telling you, my dear friends, field research means who has knowledge in this particular area. Then only it will be easy for the researcher. Or otherwise, if you find out any field researcher, he should also be trained before he is given assigned responsibility of conducting data from the field. Before he goes to the field, there is a need to train such kind of people. So I think those people who are identified for conducting the research at the field level and the organizations which are involved in that need to be briefed about this particular project by the researcher. Next, what is the purpose of study should also be mentioned, with which this particular project is taken up. What are the benefits of this? What is that we are gaining out of this particular project? That should also be explained clearly. Then the source of funding. What are the various sources that you are getting money to conduct your research, because it requires or incurs the expenditure. Money is required, material is required, then manpower is required. So in order to meet all these demands, then what are the sources of funding? Is it ICSR, which is funding, or it is UGC that is funding, or is it the industry that is funding, or is it the NGO that is funding this particular project to carry on? I think you have to find out sources of funding. Most of the people will be doing this kind of projects, because without funding, getting fund from the agencies, and the researcher himself or herself doesn't have money to carry out the research unless he or she gets funding from the agencies. That should also be known. Then the scientific background. Scientific background of this particular, what is the background of this particular? Why are you taking it up, this particular project? What is the necessity of taking this particular project? So what is the background with which you are trying to explore this area? If you are exploring this area for a research, means you are supposed to have the background of that particular area. People may be, of course, facing so many problems, health problems. If they are facing with so many health problems, then what are those health issues that they are suffering? Then if you have idea about that, the back end of this particular program need to be understood. Then only that will be mentioned in the project itself. Design of the study. What kind of design? Is it experimental design, or it is survey research, or it may be qualitative research or quantitative research, or it may ethnographic study? That you have to mention. The potential benefits and hazards. What are the benefits and hazards? Means problems that occurring or resulting as a result of this study. What are the various problems that you are facing, and what are the benefits that you are getting, potential benefits? If there are any hazards, I think those hazards need to be mentioned. This may be a problem, it may occur. If that doesn't occur, it will be well and good. So you have to foresee there may be a problem, means then you have to see that particular problem is to be solved. You have to foresee that particular problem you're going to confront, or you're going to face it. Then I think you have to take such kind of measure to overcome those hazards. Then recruitment processes. What there should be a procedure for recruitment the candidates or the field researchers. There should be a procedure also with regard to their qualifications, with regard to their experience, with regard to the projects that are conducted by them earlier, or their participation as research field researchers. I think all those things need to be mentioned in the recruitment procedures. Then informed consent. Just now we have discussed the information related to the project should be given to the society, or it may be given to the participants. And the data protection, whatever the data that is collected need to be protected, and that should be locked, and that should not be disclosed. Confidential should also be maintained, and anonymity should also be, and the subjects, their names should not be mentioned or leaked out. Their names should not be disclosed. So I think you have to maintain such kind of kind of confidentiality. Then monitoring of the research. So face to face, how much progress is taking place. Then how much time it will take to complete the research and what is the progress. So such a thing is known as monitoring of the research. And what are the various problems, if at all. This monitoring is meant for overcoming if there are any problems that are occurring. For that purpose, you have to monitor that project if the project duration is 2 or 3 years. Then the dissemination of the findings. After completion of the research, you are supposed to disseminate the findings of your research project. These are the different standard these are the standard protocols need to be followed by the researchers. If you know all these things, then you become a researcher. If you have thorough knowledge about all these things, then everything is in your hands. How to go about the research? I think these are the various items that will come under standard procedures for ethical considerations. If this kind, and you have to prepare your project report based on these standard protocols. So standard protocols, based on these things, you are supposed to prepare your note related to your project, which we can call it as a proposal. You have to prepare the research proposal considering all these factors. These are the various factors which we can call them as standard protocols. This is all about the ethics in psychological research. This okay, my dear friends? Hello.
Sir, okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent, sir.
Thank you, Abba. What appreciations? Well, yeah, it's very, because at times we require such kind of support from the
Yes.
participants,
Yes,
you
sir.
are
You're,
giving- yeah,
you're
that's
so vehemently explaining everything.
That's
There should
good.
be minimal appreciation.
Discomfort.
very nice, very nice. Okay, that's all about this unit number 21. Now we are moving into the unit number 22. The last unit of your research methodology paper, which talks about communicating psychological research. Communicating psychological research. The research is conducted, you have to communicate that research. Just now we have seen the last protocol, dissemination of the findings of the research. So therefore, once the research is completed, you are supposed to communicate it to the people so that people can understand all these things, and some people will also follow how to conduct a research. On the same line, some researchers may also try to conduct their projects. So I think whatever the findings that are there in the research are, of course, the findings have to be shared. If once the findings are shared, that would be beneficial even to the society. So I think if once the research is completed, that report is not meant for storing in the library. Am I right?
Yeah.
If once the PhD is completed, it's not just meant for keeping that thesis in the library. That has to come out in the form of a book, and you have to publish all your work in the journals, in the books, in the reports, newspapers, and you can also put that information in the net. Then only you will be acknowledged. Your services will be recognized. That will be useful to the society, useful to the researchers who are working on the same lines. Maybe those researchers who do not have any idea, I think this will also throw some light to the other people also. So whatever the research work that is completed by you should be published. Then only you will get credit. If you don't publish, you will not get any credit, but you will get only PhD. PhD doesn't mean that is whole and soul. Unless your research is published, the society may not be knowing about your research. The people may not be knowing about your research, and the purpose of your research or the benefits of research, people may be missing. So in order to be useful to the society, you are supposed to publish your research work. For that purpose, there are journals, there are conferences where you can also prepare or write a paper and also present your papers there in the conferences. And also you can bring out a book on that. And also government reports, you can also send the report to the government, and also you can publish the very, very important information of research in the newspapers, daily newspapers, and also the theses should also be theses and dissertations should also be placed in the appropriate places or accessible to the participants, accessible to the other researchers, not the participants in the sense the people who are conducting the research. They may be your juniors. If they want to how to go about the research, your thesis will be useful for them, isn't it? So I
Yes.
think those theses and dissertations should be accessible to the people who are going to conduct the research on the same lines. That will throw light to them also to take a cue from these dissertations. Then the internet also. I will also be doing this kind of job. Whenever any program is conducted, immediately that information will go to the internet. I share that matter or information in the net so that people will also see it or look at it. Then they follow it up, isn't it? So I think these are all very important issues after completion of your research. Your research work has to be published. These are the various sources for publication purposes or to bring your research into the limelight. Rajgaru.
No. Excellent. sir.
Rajgaru.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Agreed, sir. Agreed, sir.
Student, Anta, you are getting so much of credit if you can do this kind of experiment or research. And you will be known each and everybody, whoever is working on these issues, isn't it? So I think it is not meant for storing, it's meant for publication purposes, and people will also benefit out of your research. It's not the case of research in psychology. Any research issue that is undertaken or attempted by the researcher, after completion of that, they are supposed to publish that work. Then writing for the behavior and social sciences, how to write the report. And social sciences, behavioral means ours is the behavioral science because you are talking about the behavior of the human beings. So your psychology comes from the behavioral sciences and the social sciences are there, your political science, your sociology, your social anthropology, and all economics, all those subjects or disciplines will come under social sciences. But our psychology will come under behavioral sciences because we are talking about the behavior, mending the behavior, shaping the behavior of the human beings. Behavior means is only acts. Behavior means it's an act. How he is behaving means how is he acting in the society. Whether it's a desirable, the behavior to be
Respected.
yes, respected or behavior to be expressed in the society. For that purpose only psychology is introduced. Anyway, so writing for the behavioral and social sciences, these are the steps. Ethical reporting of research results. Corrections may be appended if required. So what is very important thing is if it is reported, if the work is reported, always what we do is we give it to the language expert also. Because you are the subject expert, but you may not be a language expert. Am I right, sir?
Yeah.
So before it is published, you are supposed to consult the language expert also for corrections. And subject expert means whether it is properly organized or not. That can be seen. Whether all the factors to be included, whether those things are included or not, that should be the job of the subject expert. So if there is anything to be corrected, that should also be appended. And again, that should be revised. Normally what we do is, we study this particular report. We prepare the report number of times. You can find draft forms nearly not less than 3 to 4 times. And the final copy after 5 or 6 times that is gone through in detail by the experts. It may be by the subjects experts or it may be the language experts. Then only you try to complete it. So that means nearly 5 to 6 times a draft has to be read, that has to be revised. If there are any corrections, you have to carry out all those corrections and finally you have to bring out in the form of a thesis or a report. Then data retention, sharing on request, and your data has to be retained. If anybody on request, if anybody requests, you may share that also. So you can also share your data on the request of the people. So we do these kind of things also. Any researcher may be requesting some people who have done any work related to his topic. He requests that person, please, could you please share your data because I want to use your data. If once the data is used by the other researcher, he should not own it. My dear friends, ఇతరుల డేటాను నాదిగా చెప్పకూడదు నేను. వాళ్ళది తీసుకొని I cannot own that data. That data is requested by you. On your request only, he has extended that data. So such kind of facilities should also be there, and that data has to be retained. Duplicate and piecemeal publication of data. Authors are obliged to present work parsimoniously and complete as possible in the space constraints of the journal publication. So keeping in view the scope of the space of the journal publications, you can also present your data in piecemeal also, parsimoniously. So I think if the work, if there's a big work, what we do is we cut into different parts. I think we can publish in many articles. So we bring out not less than 5 to 6 articles. If the PhD work is done means we try to publish it in 5 or 4 or 5, 6 articles. So I think based on the scope or the space of the journal publication, you can also split that work into different parts and each part can also be published. And reanalysis of the published data, you can also
Sir.
analyze.
సార్ పార్సిమోనియస్ అంటే పార్ట్లీ అన్నాను సార్.
Yeah.
రైట్ సార్.
Partly or completely also, isn't it? If it is
Right.
complete, it's well and good. If there's a big research, you can also publish it partly, isn't it?
ఎస్ సార్.
So therefore, if there's a big research like PhD, what we do normally is, if you want to publish all that work in the journals means, what we do is, we publish it 5 or 3 articles, isn't it? 5 or 6 articles of that
Yes.
PhD work.
ఎస్.
Each article may have certain variables and other things, isn't it? And finally, if you put up all those, combine all those 5 articles, it becomes a book form also, isn't it?
ఎస్.
So like this, partly or completely, you can also publish based on the scope or the space of the journal publication. You can also reanalyze of the published data. If you want, you can also reanalyze data. If still there is a scope for improvisation, you can also improve our data. Then alerting the editor. Duplication of the material is the editor's judgment. You should also be very careful. The editor should be very careful, especially for each journal, for each book, there should also be editor. Could you water తాగండి sir?
అదే సార్. Thank
Please
you.
take some water.
సార్ సార్
Yes.
మనోహర్ గారికి దగ్గొస్తే మీరు నీళ్ళు తాగుతున్నారు.
Yeah, అదే ఆయనకు చెప్పడం చేత నేను కూడా తాగితే మంచిగా ఉంటుంది.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right, friends. So editor's judgment is to be considered. So any duplication that should not be done. Copied kind of things should not be done. That is against the ethics. Okay, na? Duplication or copying, that should be avoided. So the editor can also cancel such kind of work. If it is copied of others, if it is copied work, that should be cancelled, dismissed, that will not be published. And it is the jurisdiction of the editor. He can cancel it if he knows that this is duplicate work or it is copied work. He can reject it. So such kind of, alerting the editor. Editor should also be very careful about such kind of works. Then plagiarism. Plagiarism means copying the work of others and owning it as if you are the author of that work. Hello, sir. Plagiarism is very, very important nowadays. But
Some
if
people do
you-
this.
yeah, most of the people nowadays, because there are certain, machines also which will catch you. Plagiarism means it should not be more than 10% nowadays.
That's right.
That means if you want to take the portion of anybody's work, you have to cite his name. From this book, from this journal, the work is collected, or this matter is collected. That you have to refer, or you have to cite that candidate, because it is the work of that candidate, X candidate, but that is not your own work. So you are not supposed to copy it, and you are not supposed to make it as a ownership. You are not the owner of that work. Somebody has done that work and you are using it. If you are using it, means you are supposed to refer to the name of that book or the journal or the person who has contributed that work. But you do not have the right to have any ownership on that. So therefore, that kind of plagiarism should not be there. It is, of course, accepted to the tune of only 10% or something. Nowadays, before it is accepted, you are supposed to submit the plagiarism report also to the authorities. It has to be presented at the time of the submission. At the time of the submission, then you are supposed to produce the plagiarism report that will tell you how much work is copied, whether it is a true work, own work or not. That is possible to find out through plagiarism. That means copying the work and owning it by the candidate, that should be avoided. This is not your own work. That's somebody's work. You just consider, and then if you want use it, you can refer to the name who has done this kind of work. But you are not the owner of that particular matter, because it's the owner somebody else, and you are taking that information, and you do not have any right to have the ownership on that particular matter. That should be avoided. Then self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism means the researcher himself might have used certain things earlier, researchers, and the same matter should not be again repeated in other article too. Even though that is own matter which was used earlier for some research work, and the same work should not be again repeated in another work of the same author or same researcher. That is known as self-plagiarism. Plagiarism means the first one is somebody's work to be owned by somebody. The second one is self-plagiarism, means himself or herself, which was used earlier researchers. And if you want to use the same work for other research, that is also not acceptable. You should also refer in which journal this particular information was given, then the author of that matter, and also if it is included in the book, you should also refer to the book. So I think you have to citations should be there. If this information is already used by you, even though it is your own work, still you do not have the right as it is to use it for other research also. If you want to use it, you can also refer to the journal in which the information was given earlier. Then general writing reminders. What are the reminders that we have to keep in mind? So effect, there are certain things which should be considered by the researchers, especially for writing purposes or reporting purposes. Instead of effect, you may use affect also, which is wrong. Affect is a negative kind. Effect is a kind of positivity. Affect means normally we use it for negative purposes. He is affected with a disease, and he is affected with a good grade. So such kind of things should be taken care of. When to use effect and when to use affect. Affect will be used mostly for negative kind of work or purposes. Proofs, this should not be used. This kind of proofs should not be, wording should not be used in the researches. Suggested kind of things. It is suggested. It may be suggested. Such kind of things should be used, which are also given in our study material. Proofs means is completely 100%. If it is right, then no problem at all. You can use the word prove. 100% pakka. Result, if you get such kind of result, then only it is proved. Like that, you can use the wording. But it is suggested that it may be useful for this kind of activity, that such kind of wording should be used. proofs should not be used in our reporting. Then use independent variables and dependent variables properly. You should also proper idea about the independent variables which influences the dependent variable, and dependent variable is which is being influenced by independent variables, and you should use them judiciously. Avoid sentence fragments, they should not be breaking. Use semicolons properly. Also correct verbs and tenses. Avoid using first person. You are not supposed to use I in the research report. I am, I, they, we. These things should not be used in the researches. Third person should only be used. That means the researcher, the investigator, the experimenter. Even though this is your work, you have to use only the investigator, not I. Such kind of singular person kind of wordings should not be used in the report. So your report has to keep, while making a report or presentation of report or writing a report, you have to follow all these things. Then finally, what are the APA guidelines? So APA guidelines, I mentioned in the beginning itself, American Psychological Association has given the guidelines. Accordingly, we have to prepare the reports. Then the first one is writing the abstract. Abstract about 250 words. Your abstract means there is a complete summary of your work. Writing the introduction about your topic, describe the past research and what is the background of research, describe your experiment, how are you going to conduct the experiment, then what are the various methods that you are using for your research, that you have to explain it or report it properly. Then results section, you have to mention all those results in that particular section, and you have to discuss those results, and also use citations. If your results are supporting some other studies, you should also cite some X research is supporting your results also. So your results are also supporting the earlier researchers. And for that purpose, you can also cite who has conducted that research, what is in the sense, who has conducted that research, that research results are also the same with that of you. Then you can also cite that work in the discussion part, revising the manuscript. And finally, the manuscript should also be revised properly before it goes for publication. Then also points allocation. So there are, I think, sections of the report. Then points allocation is also suggested by the American Psychological Association. It's a format given by them. I think you can also see in your study material. And there are about introduction, number 1. Chapter number 1 is introduction. There are 22 points. The weightage for this introduction part is 22 points. And method is about 24 points. Results 15 points. Discussion 23 points. Supplementary 16 points. And total 100 points. So this is the kind of allocation of the points for your research. This is the format which was suggested by American Psychological Association. We're all following such a format. According to, we have to prepare the report. So introduction is 20. Put it together. All these things put together, it's 100 points. And each chapter, introduction chapter, is again divided into sub-chapters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Similarly, methodology is also divided. Similarly, results, discussion, all these things. So I think those things are also clearly mentioned in our study material. And that is the format of the American Psychological Association, which we are also following for reporting purposes.
Sir,
Yes, sir?
what is the supplementary 16 marks?
Yeah,
16
supplementary means you have the bibliography, what are the
Oh.
references,
I see.
and your tools.
I see.
Your tools, bibliography, the reference materials, and other materials, supporting materials which are used by you should come under supplementaries. Am I right, sir?
Good marks. 16 are there.
Yes. Without, what shall we say, the references. If you are missing out the references which will come under supplementaries, I think that's not good.
It's incomplete.
Yes, yes, incomplete. Then automatically the comment will come. He hasn't included the references.
Yes.
So that will not be awarded.
Yeah.
I think you are supposed to give our references, bibliography,
References, bibliography.
tools, then other materials if there anything used
Yeah.
for methodology purposes and other things. And you are supposed to put each and everything which will be useful for supporting our research. We can call them as supplementaries. Then finally,
Supplementaries including abstract. Abstract is also, sir.
abstract is the summary of your report. Hello, ma'am. Abstract is the summary of your report.
Title page.
Yeah,
Title page is also.
hello. You can go through that study material, and
Yeah.
each chapter is again divided.
Hmm.
And you can also go through you can get, again, I think introduction 22 means there may be sub areas, isn't it? Under introduction. And for which there is also allocation of the points. Okay, na?
Yes, yes.
I think you go through that for study material and
Yes, sir.
all that format. In nutshell, I'm just giving you, this is the allocation of the points according to the American Psychological Association. And this is all about day 22nd. And I'm quite happy that I have done my duty to the extent possible. And of course, you all supported this particular assignment which is given to me. With your support only I could able to complete. I do not know how far I have done justice to this particular paper, which is very, very tough paper. Normally, we like to have face-to-face classes, than to have the classes like this online. Even then, I tried my level best to reach you all, whoever is participating in the online classes. Thank you.
Very good, sir. Thank you so much. And,
Thank you, sir.
Any remarks from
Thank
your
you, sir.
side?
Thanks for your support, sir.
Any remarks, any comments from your side?
we need your
No, sir.
blessings.
Always my blessings are with you. And I wish each and every subject. And again, I'm mentioning, I wish each, again, somebody is using this, I'm,
Sir,
yeah,
sir, how
whoever,
many of us will go further? We don't know, but your class gave us a good approach for further studies, sir.
very good, all the inputs that I have given, I think I am telling you, my dear friends, really it's not a for joke purpose,
Yeah.
but no, I think I tried my level best to bring everything into the picture. Nothing is concealed. Nothing is, of course, secret, confidential. What all I know, to the extent possible, the time is given to me. Within that time, try to cover all those things. And
Sir,
yeah.
Further, for our research, if anybody goes forward, can you please suggest us in completing our further researches, sir?
You are going to have this PhD work and other things, research work. You want to conduct any research? It's this paper is meant for,
blessings
of course.
are there?
Yeah, always blessings would be there, no problem at all. And the first step for you is you have to complete your MS Psychology.
That's correct, sir. That's
First
correct.
step. Second step, if you're interested, you can go for PhDs. If there is no possibility of going for PhDs, then you can also take up a small research. You can complete within a short time period. Such kind of research work can also be taken by you, and you can also publish in the journals. And there are many journals in psychology. And if you go through that net, you can find so many journals and psychological research. You can publish this work in the research journals, and you will be noticed by everybody. Okay, na? If it is PhD, you can go for PhDs. And again, there is a net is also there. You have to clear the net. You have to clear the net also, which is conducted by the UGC. If that is not possible, you can also conduct the research on your own if you are interested to know how these students are behaving in the schools. Such kind of topics may be taken. It may be stress, it may be anxiety, it may be adjustment, it may be mental health, it may be some other area which you require study. You can also take up small studies and also publish your work in the journals. Any more, please?
Thank you, sir.
Sridevi Garu.
Thanks, sir.
No,
Thanks,
sir.
sir.
Thanks, huh?
Thanks, and
Cheppandi Malisetti Garu.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, excellent.
ఎక్కడ ఓకే ఓకే ఏదైనా ఉంటే మాట్లాడదామంటే మాట్లాడదాం తెలుగులో
We
ఇప్పుడు
enjoyed
మనసు
it.
విప్పి మాట్లాడుతున్నా నేను
Yeah, అయితే ఒకటి ఏంటంటే సార్ దిస్ సో కాల్డ్ బాసెస్ మనసు విప్పి మాట్లాడుతున్నాము.
Hmm.
They asked the research scholars to write the paper and they put their name and not the research scholar's name.
ఉన్నాయి. All those things are happening.
Yeah,
Huh?
fortunate.
Yeah, that should not happen, isn't it?
Yes.
సార్ మీ
Yes.
రీసెర్చ్ టాపిక్ ఏంటో తెలుసుకోవచ్చా?
Research topic personality factors మీద చేశానమ్మా. How many personality factors are able to influence the achievement of the students? అని
పర్సనాలిటీ
చేశాను.
ఫ్యాక్టర్స్.
అంటే there are about
Okay.
16 personality factors.
ఓకే సార్.
16 personality factor. Each factor is a variable for me. How far these 16 personality factors are able to influence the achievement of the students? That's what I did for my PhD.
ఓ నైస్ సార్.
Like ram and cattle.
That was used by Cattell. Cattell has developed that tool. That's the personality factors form C, which contains items on 16 factors, 16 personality factors. And I have used that tool to find out the influence of those factors on the dependent variable. That dependent variable is achievement, and that achievement is divided into 3 parts: achievement in practicals, achievement in theory, and total achievement. So these are the 3 dependent variables. And
Conclusion.
3 different variables are studied with the help of the 16 independent variables. Okay.
Which variable was most powerful as you found?
And the first variable was that which entered in the fray was that factor B, which related to intelligence.
Oh,
That influenced a lot. Apart from that, the highest variable that influenced the achievement was the attitude of the students. That contributed a lot to the achievement. Those people who are positive towards their studies, that attitude contributed a lot to the students' achievement.
I see.
So you talk about your thing. Of course, my thesis is okay. About from that you talk about it.
Sir,
Sir, it is
how
very
many,
useful.
sir, how many students you have taken into consideration, sir?
Sir,
Roughly,
for my
number.
studies, I have taken up nearly 450 students.
Oh,
Okay,
very good.
okay, sir.
Good sample.
450.
So sample means almost it's a representative sample that should represent, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It should represent the universe. I have used the stratified random sampling technique. Also, I have used, I believe, what's with the stepwise kind of sampling, isn't it? Which we have discussed also.
Yes.
Multi-stage sampling technique, isn't it?
Yes.
Multi-stage sampling technique. That was the technique that I used because that was the bigger study. And for that purpose, I have used that multi-stage random sampling technique.
సార్
Ah.
మీ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ లో
ఎంతసేపు నన్ను గురించి ప్లీజ్ ఆస్క్
లేదు
యువర్
సార్.
సబ్జెక్ట్.
లేదు సార్ విత్ యువర్ రిసర్చ్
యా
you would have got some big idea about intelligence that which can be improved or
You cannot
upgraded.
improve the intelligence. The intelligence is constant. You cannot improve it.
So
Intelligence is- hello.
attitude affects, sir.
The attitude a lot affects. If the mindset of the individual is very high, very positive,
Yes, sir.
then automatically the achievement would also be very high.
Good, sir. Thank you.
But you cannot improve the intelligence because that is constant at one stage.
Okay, sir.
Sir, intelligence ఎప్పటి వరకు up to what age?
ఒక స్టేజ్కి వచ్చిన తర్వాత అది అలాగే కంటిన్యూ అవుతుందండి. 25 years తర్వాత నుంచే. కాకపోతే ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ప్లే ఎ వైటల్ రోల్.
That's it.
Okay, good, sir. Good.
Experience is the greatest teacher. We cannot value it very easily.
Yeah.
Sir, one small request.
చెప్పండమ్మా. సారీ.
Sir,
Hello?
one small request. You shared up to 18 to 22 lessons PPT, sir. So if you have any
ఎవరమ్మా ఆమె పేరు చెప్పండి, చెప్పండి పేరు.
why, sir?
Why you got, you just tell your name and then tell. Notes ఇవ్వను.
No, sir, I'm not asking about notes, sir. Just PPT you shared in.
పీపీటీస్ అంతవరకు నేను తయారు చేయలేదు అప్పుడు, ఎందుకంటే అది ఫేస్ టు
No,
ఫేస్
sir,
క్లాస్.
before you showed, na, sir. That's PPTs only I'm asking. You showed in class, na. That's PPTs.
I did not show you that PPTs in
No,
the
sir, you
classroom.
showed, sir, that non-probability sampling techniques. All are you showed, na, sir. That is 15 and 16, 17.
Yeah, that's okay. If there are things, of course, that we can also pause.
Yes, sir, that too. That's only I'm
Okay.
asking.
I think
Whatever you prepared, that will be useful for us.
आपका नाम शुभ नाम क्या है मैडम? చెప్పండి ప్లీజ్, आपका शुभ नाम क्या है? చెప్పరా?
Sunanda, sir.
సునంద గారు, you are from విజయవాడ?
No, sir. I'm from Hyderabad.
సునందాజీ, ఒకవేళ అటువంటి ఇంత ముందే నేను చెప్పిన, అంటే ఇక్కడ ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ లో చెప్తున్నటువంటి వాటికు పీపీటీస్ తయారు చేసి ఉంటే ఐ కెన్ షేర్ దెమ్. ఓకేనా?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
అండ్ ఆఫ్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఐ థింక్ ఐ హావ్ నాట్ ప్రిపేర్ ద పీపీటీస్ అప్ టు 8th యూనిట్, ఇజంట్ ఇట్?
Sir, నేను offline classes కదా, sir. Only online classes.
అర్థమైంది.
Ha.
Repeating and re-repeating also. Same thing you are repeating. Okay, that will be, of course, posted or shared. Okay, na?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Then any more? సార్ చెప్పండి సార్. మా మలేషియా తర్వాత ఒక రాజు గారు ఉన్నారు, రాజు మాట్లాడడం లేదు.
Yes, sir.
చెప్పండి రాజు గారు.
No, no, sir, very good, sir.
So the number of the participants today is about, there are about 21 candidates. Very good.
Yes, sir. Even at the 11th hour, there are 21 candidates.
Still, there are about 12 minutes to go to complete, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can ask more questions also. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. My
Good
name is
evening.
Pallavi.
That's good. Very
Sir.
nice. Very nice. That's how you have to come up. Yeah.
సార్ నాకు ఒక డౌట్, అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఎంఎస్సి సైకాలజీ తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ అంటే ఏం చదివితే బాగుంటుందని. ఆమె మోటివేషనల్ స్పీకర్స్, ట్రైనర్ ఆల్సో. అయితే నెక్స్ట్ అంటే ఏం
Motivational speaker.
ఎస్ సార్.
You are supposed to have abundance of knowledge. So I think మీరు పిహెచ్డి చేయవచ్చును, లేకపోతే ఒక క్లినిక్ లాంటిది పెట్టుకోవచ్చును. కొన్ని రోజులు ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ గడించిన తర్వాత యూ కెన్ హ్యావ్ యువర్ ఓన్ క్లినిక్. యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో వర్క్ విత్ సమ్ కౌన్సిలర్స్. తర్వాత గైడెన్స్ అండ్ కౌన్సిలింగ్ అని ఒక సర్టిఫికేట్ కోర్స్ ఉండాలి, డిప్లొమా కోర్స్ ఉండాలండి. గైడెన్స్ అండ్ కౌన్సిలింగ్.
The PG diploma in counseling.
PG diploma in counseling. Yeah, that you can take up.
Sir.
You will get very clarity how to go about these students and other people also. Guidance and counseling, PG diploma course. It may be offered by the IGNO, or it earlier it was also.
Sir, our Ambedkar University is offering.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, if your Ambedkar University is also offering this particular diploma course on counseling, it's always better to pursue that course also. That will give you or widen the horizons of your mind.
Okay.
That will
Is
be
it
useful for you
mandatory
also.
for going for a counseling diploma, sir?
Yeah, it's always better because you can be a psychologist in the schools also. You can hear the problems of the students. You can solve the problems of the students. And again, there is a scope for appointing the psychologists for the schools also. There is a scope, there is a possibility of appointing the psychologists. For 3 to 4 schools on contract basis, they may appoint psychologists also. In that case, I think this particular PG diploma in guidance and counseling will help a lot. Okay, na?
Thank you, sir.
Still, if you are interested, you can also go for PhDs. And for that, what is required is you have to clear the UGC net.
Okay.
And again, various universities will also conduct the entrance test, PG, the research entrance test.
Okay.
For each subject. If you stood first, then I think you may get admission in the PhDs. You can also complete the PhD there. Then you become doctorate degree holder.
Oh, Nice. Okay, so thank you.
Oh,
So
I think you're so
UGC
happy.
NET exams, when we will be
For
having,
every
sir?
6 months, that would be conducted.
So coming up must be in June or July
Yeah,
sometime?
yeah, you can ask to somebody. I think for every 6 months, the test will be conducted. You can prepare for that. You clear it, and you will be eligible to enter as, what shall we say, the assistant professor in the colleges. That is must nowadays. You have to clear the net. If you clear the net, UGC net, you will be eligible for lecturership or the assistant professorship to work in the institutions. That is nowadays required.
Sir,
That's
మరి
must to become a lecturer. That net you have to clear first. That will be useful not only for getting admission to the PhD, but also useful for working in the institutions. It has become a base. Okay. Any more?
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సార్. సార్ ఇంకొక డౌట్ సార్. ఇందులో ఇప్పుడు
పల్లవి తల్ల చెప్పండి పల్లవి.
ఎస్ సార్ పల్లవి. సార్ ఇందులో సార్ మనకి సోషల్ సైకాలజీ ఇంకా కొంతమంది క్రిమినల్ సైకాలజీ కూడా ఇప్పుడు ఆల్రెడీ డిప్లొమా లాగా తీసుకున్నారు. సార్ అంటే ఇందులో స్పెసిఫిక్ గా ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ మనం ఎంచుకుంటే బాగుంటుందంటారు సార్?
ఎప్పటికైనా ఒక స్పెసిఫిక్ ఇష్యూ మీదనే చేస్తారు పిహెచ్డీస్.
ఓకే.
యు ఆర్ స్పెషలైజ్డ్. సూపర్ స్పెషలైజ్డ్ మీన్స్ ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ మీద తరోగా మీరు రీసెర్చ్ చేసి దాంట్లో ఎక్స్పర్టైజ్ సంపాదిస్తే దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్వేస్ బెటర్. యు ఆర్ ద ఓన్లీ వన్ పర్సన్ హూ ఇస్ స్పెషలిస్ట్ ఇన్ దట్ ఏరియా అండ్ ఎవ్రీబడి విల్ లుక్ ఎట్ యూ ఫర్ గైడెన్స్ పర్పస్. So if you want to work in the hospitals, clinical psychology, if you possess that clinical psychology, you can also work in the hospitals. Those people who are having psychological problems, for them, you can counsel. You can counsel them. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
Criminal psychology in the jails, in the prisons, with the criminals. How to deal with the criminals. I think you will also be appointed in the prisons also, as tutor, as counselor, if you study that criminal psychology.
All politicians will be on her hands, sir.
సార్ ఇక్కడ మనకి హైదరాబాద్ లో ఉందా సార్
క్రిమినల్ సైకాలజీ?
సార్ క్రిమినల్ సైకాలజీ
చూడాలి ఒకసారి, మీరు రెఫర్ చేయండి అమ్మా. యూ జస్ట్ గో త్రూ ద నెట్. ఐ థింక్ నాకు ఎక్కడ అది కనిపించలేదు.
సార్ అంటే
There
నేను
are certain institutions, they are specialized institutions on that.
గుజరాత్
They will offer this criminal psychology as one of their subjects also.
అంటే లాస్ట్ మంత్ గుజరాత్ లో నోటిఫికేషన్ పడి ఉండే సార్ గవర్నమెంట్ కాలేజ్ లో. కానీ మనకి ఇక్కడ హైదరాబాద్ నియర్ ఎక్కడ కనిపించలేదు సార్.
హైదరాబాద్
తెలుసుంటుంది
కనిపించలేదండి. సో నాకు కూడా కనిపించలేదు. ఒకసారి మీరు ఏం చేస్తారంటే నెట్లోకి వెళ్ళి దాన్ని ఒకసారి సెర్చ్ చేయండి. The institutions which are offering this criminal psychology and one of the papers. అటువంటిది ఏదైనా ఉంటే మీరు ట్రై చేయొచ్చును. ఆ డిప్లొమా లాంటిది ఏదైనా ఉంటే కూడా మీరు ట్రై చేయవచ్చు. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.
Any more please? Any more? Hello.
So in case in future after the exams, if any doubts and all, we can come back to you for some guidance.
Sudha Asadi garu.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
why not? You are most welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Very nice. Still, any questions, please? నాకు ఇద్దరు ముగ్గురు కనపడుతున్నారు. ఎలిశెట్టి గారు, రాజు గారు, సుధా గారు, పల్లవి గారు. Only 4 members. What about the other candidates? There are about 21 candidates.
They are doing PhD, sir.
Without completing psychology, yeah? They are doing PhD also. Okay. People can also do it, no problem. Yes, anything, please? That's all about all these papers. Huh?
That's it for now, I asked him.
Sir, do you have any idea about assignments, sir?
అది సరిగా నాకు తెలియదండి. మీకు అసైన్మెంట్స్ ఎవరు ఇచ్చారు ఏంటి తెలియదు.
ఓకే.
అసైన్మెంట్ సబ్మిట్ చేశారండి?
లేదు, ఇంకా ఇవ్వలేదు సార్ మాకు.
ఇవ్వలేదా? ఇప్పటికి ఇచ్చి ఉండాలి కదా?
ఇవ్వలేదు సార్.
Sir, final
ఇస్తారండి.
exams.
చెప్పండి.
బుక్సే రాలేదు సార్ ఇంకా మాకు.
బుక్స్నే ఇంతవరకు రాలేదు సార్. మీరు చెప్పేది వింటున్నాము అంతవరకునే.
ఏందమ్మా వినంతసేపు విని పక్కన నెట్టేస్తారా? ఒక చెవితో విని రెండవ చెవితో వదిలేస్తారా?
లేదు సార్, మీరు ఏది చెప్పినా కూడా ప్రతి పాయింట్
నువ్వు ప్రతి
రాసుకుంటున్నాం.
పాయింట్ రాసుకో. అది చూద్దాం అనుకున్నా నేను. వెదర్ యు ఆర్ నోటింగ్ డౌన్ అట్లీస్ట్ ది మెయిన్ పాయింట్స్ ఆర్ నాట్. దట్ వాజ్ మై కన్సర్న్.
We are noting it, sir.
Very nice. It's very nice. Very nice. To hear that good news from you. If you are noting it down means it's a good news.
I am writing every point.
Oh,
good.
wonderful. Wonderful,
Wow,
Udayan
wow.
garu. Udayan garu, wonderful. Yeah, you have done it very well. Good. It's very nice. Anything, please?
When we'll conduct the final exam, sir.
అవన్నీ మీ ఎగ్జామినేషన్ వింగ్ ఉంటుంది యూనివర్సిటీలో, వాళ్ళు చెప్తారు. ఎగ్జామినేషన్ వింగ్ ఉంటుంది కదా యూనివర్సిటీలో, వాళ్ళు చెప్తారు. కానీ నాకు సరిగ్గా తెలియదమ్మా. నేను ఎంతవరకు అంటే నాకు ఇచ్చిన అసైన్మెంట్ వరకే చూసుకుంటా. ఐ కెనాట్ స్ట్రెచ్ మై హ్యాండ్స్ ఫర్దర్
Okay, okay, sir.
కదా.
Thank
వాళ్ళు
you, sir.
నాకు ఏదైతే నాకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉందో అదే నేను చేయగలదు, మిగతా చేయలేను. బట్ ఎనీవే, బికాస్ ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ విత్ రిగార్డ్ టు ద కండక్ట్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్, అండ్ ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ది ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఫ్రమ్ ది authorities. Don't worry about that. Okay, meanwhile you prepare yourself for the examinations, and also ensure that this particular knowledge, whatever that you gained out of this psychology, it's not only my paper, even other papers. How are you going to use this knowledge for the benefit of the society and for yourself? That you have to
Definitely, sir.
search or identify the areas in which you are going to use that knowledge.
Classmate is the best, I mean. Okay?
This is the best remark you made, I feel.
This is the only best remark, not
No, this is the best. Because
Yeah.
rarely
Yeah.
people confine in a mechanistic way. Syllabus, completion, examination, certificate. End
No.
of it.
Yeah. If once you conduct a research, the whole paper would be in your grip.
Yeah.
If you just publish one paper, that's enough for you to understand the whole paper, because all the components that we discuss need to be understood, and then after understanding all those things only you can prepare the paper, any article which is going to be published. So you can also take up such kind of papers, research work after completion of your course. If you have time, based on your time only, you can take up such small research works also. Anything, please?
సార్ ఇప్పుడే సెకండ్ ఇయర్ తర్వాతనే చేయొచ్చా సార్?
Second year తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు కూడా చేయండి, no problem at all. I will help you if you are interested to come up with a problem.
ఓకే, అంటే
If you are good enough, if you can come up with a problem related to your psychology, you can do it, no problem at all. There are many psychological problems that are confronted by the students also nowadays, and I am observing they are using the abusive language in the schools. Every day I see the students who are coming to the park, they are using the forbidden language, the abusive language, the worst language, the hidden language, which should not be used by a student. How are they using it? All those 10 fellows or 20 fellows I see in the park, they are playing. While playing, they are using such a kind of forbidden language. Then I was asking, are you using this kind of language at your home also? That means your school is responsible, friends are responsible, parents are responsible, teachers are responsible, and the whole society is responsible for using such kind of language, abusive language. I'm sorry, and the students నాకు చాలా బాధేసింది. ప్రతి స్టూడెంట్ ఆ టైప్ ఆఫ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ వాడుతుంటే ఏంటిది, ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాము?
వాళ్ళకి ఏం సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ లేకుండా పోయింది సార్. ఎక్కడ ఎలా ప్రవర్తించాలి?
ఆ పిల్లోడు బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ ఏంటి అడుగుతున్నాను. ఫాదరు లాయర్ అన్నాడు. మరి మీ ఫాదర్ లాయరు, మంచి పొజిషన్ ఉన్నాడు, బ్రహ్మాండంగా నీకు అన్ని ఫెసిలిటీస్ ప్రొవైడ్ చేయగలుగుతాడు. బట్ వాట్ ఈజ్ యువర్ లాంగ్వేజ్ దట్ యూఆర్ యూజింగ్ హియర్? కంప్లీట్ అబ్యూజివ్.
పిల్లల్లో అదొక రకమైన మెంటాలిటీ వచ్చింది సార్. అంటే
నేను అదొక స్కూలే కాదు, దే ఆర్ ఆల్ ఫ్రమ్ వెరీ గుడ్ స్కూల్స్ అండ్ ప్రైవేట్ స్కూల్స్.
ఎస్ సార్. వాళ్ళు ఆ అబ్యూజివ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ వాడితే వాడికి ఏదో హై పవరు లేకపోతే గనక attention seeking nature
you
అండి.
cannot, even the ladies who are also of course coming for the walk, just they are putting that cotton in their ears.
మీడియా నుంచి వచ్చింది సార్. మీడియా జోక్స్ షేరింగ్ లో అట్లా చూపిస్తుంది.
అదే డబుల్ మీనింగ్ డైలాగ్స్ అని రాస్తున్నారు.
అది సార్ మీడియా మెయిన్ రీజన్ మీడియా.
It's well, not only media, everybody is responsible in the society for that. Okay.
Yes,
Anyway,
sir, yes.
అందరూ దానికి బాధ్యులుగానే కనపడుతున్నారు కాబట్టి కొద్దిగా ప్రతి ఒక్కరు మంచిగా బిహేవ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది, ఎస్పెషల్లీ పేరెంట్స్ అండ్ ద స్కూల్స్.
Yes, sir.
Okay, with this, I think I'm concluding this, and I wish each and everybody it's a nice time and very good results from you for this MSc Psychology. And my blessings are always with you.
Thank you.
That's all from my
Sir.
side. I am Dr. B. Krishna Reddy signing off for this academic year.
Adios, sir. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
thank you, thank you. Still people are there, my God. Wow. Josno, Dr. Srinivas Pulluri. Srinivas Garu, mathematics teacher.
Yes, sir. Namaskaram, sir.
Em Srinivas silent గా ఉన్నావు? ఉన్నావా? Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm in class, sir.
ఉన్నావంటే మరి ఎందుకు మీ దగ్గర నుంచి ఏం వాయిస్ లేదు?
So, okay, only, sir. I'm listening only.
సార్ మీరు జాగ్రఫీలో మీరు పీహెచ్డీ చేశారని చెప్పారు, మీ మేడం గారు ఆ రోజు వచ్చారు కదా?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
మీ పాపం తీసుకుని వచ్చారు.
Yes, sir.
సో చాలా రోజుల తర్వాత మాట్లాడుతున్నారు శ్రీనివాస్ గారు మీరు.
అవును సార్.
ఓకే, బాగున్నారు కదా?
అంతా క్షేమమే సార్. ఐఎమ్ హ్యాపీ విత్ యువర్ క్లాస్ సార్.
ఇట్స్ వండర్ఫుల్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ డాక్టర్ శ్రీనివాస్ గారు.
అయితే లాస్ట్ టైం కూడా ప్రతిసారి యూట్యూబ్ లో విన్నాను సార్ మీ క్లాస్, జూమ్ లో కాకుండా.
యూట్యూబ్ లో కూడా వస్తున్నాయా?
యూట్యూబ్ లో వస్తున్నాయి సార్. మన బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ లో అవి మరి వాళ్ళు సేవ్ చేస్తారో ఏమో తెలియట్లేదు సార్.
రికార్డ్ చేస్తారండి. బట్ ఫర్ దోస్ బెనిఫిట్ ఆఫ్ దోస్ క్యాండిడేట్స్ హూ విల్ నాట్ పార్టిసిపేట్ ఇన్ ది ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్, దే కెన్ ఓపెన్ ఇట్ అండ్ దెన్ దే కెన్ ఫాలో ఇట్ ఆల్సో.
అందులో ఒక 4-5 మెంబర్స్ విన్నాం సార్ ప్రతిసారి.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
అదే సార్. సరే,
ఓకే వెరీ మచ్ శ్రీనివాస్ గారు.
ఓకే సార్. అంటే ఆర్సిఐ సర్టిఫికేట్ మాత్రమే చేయమంటారా సార్? డిప్లొమా ఇన్ కౌన్సిలింగ్ అండ్
చేయండి మంచిగా ఉంటుంది. డిప్లొమా ఇన్ కౌన్సిలింగ్, గైడెన్స్ అండ్ కౌన్సిలింగ్.
ఆర్సిఐ రికగ్నైజ్డ్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇగ్నో వాళ్ళది ఆర్సిఐ రికగ్నైజ్డా సార్? అది
ఇగ్నోది రికగ్నైజ్ ఎవరివేర్ అండి.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's all about from my side. Thank you each and everybody. Still you are present here.